Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for episode 98 of in my fighting fantasy video series, and also the eighth episode of playing Rebel Planet, which is becoming, I think, one of my favorite fighting fantasy books for different reasons. I do have several favorites now, I must admit. There are lots of them that I really, really like. So as we get one step closer to episode 100, let's try this again. Now, the last few times I have been saving my game because I got to a stage where I've sort of been doing the same thing over and over again in the beginning, and so there's no point to keep doing that. So it feels as if I've got the first two planets covered, which allows me to start from planet number 3, where there's still some work to be done. If you want to see how you get to planet 3 and how I got to planet 3, you can watch episodes 1 through 6, I guess. 6? No, 5. 1 through 5? Yes, 1 through 5. You can watch those again if you like to see how I got to this stage. So I got my maps. There's lots of maps this time, actually. I've got, because I ended up doing an extra map for a little maze, and I started doing a street map of Tropos, which it seemed, there was an indication that maybe it mattered, but then it doesn't really. And then on the last planet, there is a place where you go into the wilderness. And then I thought, just in case the wilderness was, well, quite sort of random maze-like thing. It doesn't actually seem like it. It actually is more linear than it looked to start with, but so I got an extra map for that. But it does actually make my mapping more tidy than usual, that I've spread it out over more sheets of paper, and it's not like I'm lacking paper. In fact, I can't get it out now. I've got a pack of 10 pads of gridded paper. That I bought really cheaply, by the way, to do my mapping for fighting fantasy. Not just that, of course, but that's one of the main thing that I use this paper for. Right, so I'll just get my things ready and get started. So I'll see you on my desk in a few moments when I've got my things ready to start playing. Boom. Okay, there we are. I'm ready on my desk. I've got my character sheet. I've got my maps, got my dice, my pens, my pencil, and my book, which is very useful. It's very hard to play a game book without the actual book. I mean, well, technically you could play it on a PDF or something, but that's still the book. I wouldn't do that. I don't like the idea of playing on the PDF. Anyway. Or an ebook, actually. For me, it's game book. It's the leafing back and forth. It's such a big part of the feel of it. Right. So, my character from before, of course, I got my full skill of 10. Well, I got 9 on this planet because of the gravity. Stamina 20, luck 11, but I'm down 1 point to 10. And credits, I forgot to put in how much I've got left. I've got 1,405 credits left, and I got my 2 3-digit binary code fragments as well. All my equipment got taken away from me, of course, at the end of planet number 2, so I'm starting from almost from scratch in a way on planet 3. So here we go. Halmuris is a bleak planet. The terrain is wild and mountainous, and some of the mountains are active volcanoes. It is a planet which is still going through the last violent stages of creation. It is very hot in the daytime and fatally freezing at night, when the hot bluish sun sinks below the horizon and the 3 moons become visible. Why wouldn't they be visible during the day? That's my big question. I mean, the moon on Earth is visible during the day. Why wouldn't it be? It just depends how much sunlight it gets, not how much sunlight is otherwise in the sky, unless you have an atmosphere that diffuses a lot of light because of lots of cloud. But that can't be the case because it says it's freezing at night. And it wouldn't be freezing at night if it was cloudy. So it can only be freezing at night if it is quite clear. So, and also, why would the day and night temperature be so different if the oceans are so big that you get tides that... Oh, never mind. And the scientists on Halmiris probably know all this anyway. And they're wondering why they're living on such an illogical planet. That's why they're there. They're probably trying to figure out why does this work differently to anywhere else. The moons caused vast tides on the planet. If you have to, and of course, in order to do that, they would have to be quite close as well, and big, or big. If you have to spend a night out on Halmuras, you would be well advised to choose somewhere warm and far away from water. The inhabitants live in small settlements which were originally scientific research establishments and are clustered quite close together with a spaceport on the high plateau region in the south of the planet. This is to avoid the huge tides which ravage the lower-lying areas, which are punctuated by sudden inhospitable crags. The computer feeds you all these data and also informs you that the alien inhabitants are mostly Central Arcadians, who naturally took over the scientific facilities of the planet. All you know about the underground leader is that he or she is an assistant at the agricultural research settlement. When you land on Halmuras, you find that your limbs feel heavy. The higher gravity of this planet means that for the duration of your stay here, you must lose 1 skill point. This makes finding a weapon even more vital. Or does it? There are none of the customs and immigration hassles that you expected. Instead, you are simply ordered to remain in the spaceport area until your ship is unloaded and your passenger is ready to embark late the next day. It is now mid-afternoon, with 4 hours to go until sunset. Will you first investigate the possibility of getting hold of a sword, or of learning the whereabouts of the agricultural station? Right. So, little bit strange how you're so obsessed with finding a sword and even running the risk all the time of carrying it with you when you are skilled at unarmed combat and apparently better at killing someone when you're fighting unarmed combat. So there's some inconsistency in the rules here that doesn't quite go. Anyway, if I've done this before now, so if you try to find out where the agricultural station is, you sort of get directed towards the sword bit anyway. But there's one option there I just may as well try. So I'm going to go to 173, just in case the blues have something else to say about the agricultural station. Okay. Of the humans on the base, some are wearing grey uniforms, some blue. You want to ask where the agricultural station is. Will you ask someone in grey or in blue? So I'm going to ask someone in blue this time and see if they have a different and more useful answer than the ones in grey. The ones in grey are the not menial workers, cleaning, maintenance, that sort of thing. The humans in blue uniforms are the engineering and technical staff. Okay, so they're the more clever ones anyway. You approach one with your question and he tells you that the agricultural station is about 10 kilometers to the northeast of the spaceport, over rough and undeveloped ground. It says that if you have a pass, the shuttle helicopter is efficient. Otherwise, it is a difficult journey on foot. Will you ask him how to get a pass? Or will you leave him and try elsewhere for a sword? Okay, so now I sort of knew there was a pass because that was given to me as an option when I met the Black Marketeer. But of course, my character wouldn't have thought of that as an option at the time, which makes it a little bit bizarre. But now I am getting the option in a natural and legitimate way. So either I go looking for a sword. Oh, hang on. Is there a typo there? I'm just checking now. 173. Yeah. There's a typo here. It says, we'll leave him and try elsewhere for a sword. Turn to 137, which should have been 237. Okay. 2, 3, 7. There we go. So, or 273 rather. 273. 273. I can see how you can mix those up. Okay, so that means we're going 273 to find a sword, or we are going to 38 to see if we can get a pass. That's what I'll do. Yes, I thought as much, he replies. If you have to ask me all these questions, you can't ask the officials for some reason, can you? Come with me. I know someone who can help you. Nice picture here, by the way. Again. Will you go with him or leave him and try elsewhere for a sword? Okay. So, again, we're given the option of looking for a sword. Okay. Or go to 399, which is somewhere I have been before, isn't it? 399, where is 399 now? I'm sure I've seen 399 before. There's something wrong with my map because I'm definitely sure I've seen 399. Oh, let's have a little look now. So 399. Ah, there it is. Well, I was looking too far up on my map. Okay, so basically this leads us on exactly the same path that I was on after I asked someone in blue for a sword. And then we're going all this way here. Okay, that's interesting enough. Okay. So it's a little bit more linear than it looks sometimes. This. Right. You follow him down countless passageways, up and down flights of stairs, and finally across rooftops, until you come to a secluded air conditioning control room on top of the western part of the spaceport buildings. This is all very mysterious. Will you allow your companion to knock on the door, or will you put an end to this risky business? Does that mean killing him? Probably does mean killing him, doesn't it? I'm going to knock on the door. I'm never going to put an end to this risky business, I don't think. So I'm going to just check that out and see what happens. You can choose to fight or run away. Okay. 145. Inside you are led past stacks of crates and boxes up to a heavy-jowled human who is sitting behind a desk. What is going on here? He demands with scarcely a glance up from his papers. If you kill the human on the way here, turn to 28. So that is if you choose to fight the other guy, I suppose. It's curious now to see what happens if you do. Oh. Interesting. Maybe I'll try that sometime. Okay. Otherwise, turn to 187. Okay. Will you ask if he can supply you with a pass for the shuttle service to the agricultural station or with a sword? And this time I'm going to ask for a pass to the agricultural station. So that's 385. Yes, I can get you a pass, he replies, but it'll take a day. You don't have that much time. Lose one luck point and ask for a sword instead. Ugh. That's a bit boring, isn't it? But that, of course, I suppose that means that you have to go through that wilderness bit, which makes sense, I guess. Okay, so that means you are not supposed to ask for an agricultural pass. You are just supposed to get a sword. How boring. Okay. -1 luck. Okay. $286. Yes, I can sell you a sword, he replied. It'll cost you 1,000 credits. Do you have enough money? If you do and you are prepared. I'm sure that if you don't pay for the sword, you don't really have an option much here, do you? So, I mean, look at it. I mean, do you have enough money? If you do and you're prepared to pay this exorbitant price, do so. If you cannot or will not, you will have to do a job for him instead. It's not like you don't have an option of not getting a sword now, or going and trying to find it elsewhere, or stealing it from a... because all this time, I mean, obviously it would have been easier just to steal a sword from one of the guards. Yeah. So this path does not look like an ideal way to go about it anyway. Anyway. Although it does make it easier to get out of the spaceport after this bit. I'm going to pay 1,000 for it. Okay, so it's only money anyway. If I suddenly run out of money and that's my problem, I know where where I went wrong. Okay. The thing is, if you do a job for him, you have to use your luck 3 times, and which means your luck is reduced by 3 further points. That is quite scary. 84. You turn away, only to find your way barred by the black marketeer's man. Just before you go, hang on, 84. Yeah, no, that's a different one than the one that we... 84. Yes, there we are. 84. Just before you go, says the oily voice of the black marketeer behind you. Tell me what you're up to. I may want to be cut in. This treachery makes you angry, but anger lends speed to your reactions. You cut down the man at the door before he has time to do more than twitch, and spin to face the black marketeer. He moves fast for a heavy man. Right. So, fight. I've got 920. He's got 610. So I've got a 3 skill point advantage. He rolls a 2. That's a good start. 9. And I'm fighting. I'm not fighting unarmed anymore. I'm fighting with a sword. Okay. 5, 10. He's down to 6. He rolls a 10. I rolled a 3, so I'm down to 18. He rolls an 8. I roll a 10. He's down to 4. He rolls a 3. I roll a 7. He's down to 2. And finally, perhaps he rolls a 6. And I roll a 7. And he is dead. So I win and I go to 112. The fire is preventing you from making what could have been a very profitable search. You have time to grab only 1 object. So I'm rolling a die, and that is an odd. And I go to 253. Let's see, 253. The object to grab was a jetpack, but it feels so light that it may have no fuel left in it. You take it anyway. The fire is bound to attract unwelcome attention. You decide to leave the spaceport as soon as possible. Turn to 336. So, jetpack again. Okay. That's the one I got last time I was in this situation. You return to the main part of the spaceport to get your bearings. The freezing night is not far off. How will you get off the base? It is surrounded by a high perimeter wire fence, and both its main entrances, to the west and east, are guarded. If you have a jetpack, turn to 128. If you have a pair of wire cutters, turn to 393. If you have neither of these, turn to 2. I've got a jetpack, 128, thank you. That's a nice picture there. It actually shows quite well how tall the fence is. And also looks very climbable. Would you risk using the jetpack, despite its lack of fuel, to propel you over the fence? If not, turn to 2. So I actually got a choice now to go to 2, which involves fighting. And then again, using a jetpack can be risky as well. I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, I'm better off fighting. I'm going to not use a jetpack. I think because if I use a jetpack, I will have to test my luck again, and I've got quite low luck now. I don't want to run out. Your only chance is to rush the guards at one of the main entrances. You choose the eastern entrance because there are fewer guards there. Your first assault takes them completely by surprise, since you waited until they were all looking the other way. Yeah, that's quite handy. And you cut down 2 of them. This leaves you with only 1, and he's a fairly small southerner. So, but I have to win in 4 attack rounds now. So 6, 8. So I've got a 3 skill point advantage. I may have to use luck after all, actually, because I need to win in 4 rounds. Because otherwise, I die. Actually, maybe the jetpack was better after all. He rolls a 5. I roll 8. It's down to 6. He rolls 4. I roll 10. It's down to 4. He rolls 6. I roll 12. It's down to 2. He rolls 3. I roll 5. And I did beat him in 4 rounds without using luck. That was lucky, I guess. Okay. 263. Okay. Because if you don't beat him in 4 rounds, you die. So 263. More Arcadian guards are on their way, but you make it through the gate. They do not set out after you. At first you wonder why, but then you realize that they are leaving the freezing night to do their work for them. There are various paths that you could take. Okay, so now we are on the second map. The wilderness. Will you go east, north, or south? So I've tried north. I've tried east. And I haven't tried south. Maybe I'll try south this time for variety. So, although I think that all these paths are going to sort of try to merge, because there is something you can pick up when you go east that will allow you to interact with something that happens in the north. But what is south? Another reason why I'm trying to sort of cover everything now is that I can sort of be satisfied at some point that I've figured out the best path with a probability of 98%. I know what the best path is, and which allows me to sort of speed play through it, or put save game points that I can start from without having to do everything all over again. So, although of course I always save my game now, and this is 20 minutes in, so going south is actually sudden death. It's an insta-death, actually. Let's read this. This is nice. See, this is the kind of thing as well. I always mention this in the Fighting Fantasy forum on Facebook. If somebody says, or somebody asks, which have you won any books on the first try? My retort to that is usually that you do not want to win a book on the first try, because if you do, you miss out on all the side paths, all the colorful insta-deaths, a lot of the characters and the characterizations. You miss out on so many interesting things that have been baked into the book. Because normally a correct path through a book is between 100 and 150 paragraphs long, which means that you actually have only read a quarter to a third of the book if you win on the first go. Anyway, you walk for half an hour in a southerly direction, searching in increasing desperation for some shelter from the freezing night, but all in vain. The sudden drop in temperature catches you still out in the open, and you fall as if poleaxed to the ground. And that's all it says. So east it is then. Is it east? Or is it north? Actually, it's north, I think, is the best path to start with. So, back to my save game, which now is where I'll leave the spaceport. It doesn't seem like there's anything else to do there, really. Basically, the only thing you get to do in the spaceport is to get a sword. That seems to be the absolute only thing that happens in that section of the book, the beginning part of this planet. There's nothing else happening here. Because I've taken both paths now. They all lead to the Black Marketeer. They all lead you to get the sword. And yeah, so there's no point starting over and then again from that point anymore. The only place that now makes sense to start over again for. So next time, when I die, I will start over again from the point where I go into the wilderness after the spaceport. It makes sense. Okay. So that's my new save game point. Right. I'm going north, I decided. So that is 342. You know that your first priority is to find somewhere sheltered to spend the night. After a while, you come across a tree. Oh, that was a bit hairy, actually. I'm wondering... all the paths here are absolute rubbish. You know, yeah, the tree was scary. You know what? I'm going to east. I've forgotten about the tree. Okay, sorry. Okay, rewind. So we are going to go east to the 45. Not south, not north, but east. Okay. You know that your first priority is to find somewhere sheltered to spend the night. You are following a path through rough terrain with a valley sloping down to your left and rocky outcrops up the hill to your right. After a while, you come across two caves to your right, which look as though they are deep enough to give you shelter. The right-hand one is approached by a smooth gully which wends its way to the valley below. The left-hand one is higher up, and its entrance is but partially hidden by a spiky cactus-like plant, which you can actually impale yourself on, even though you got a sword to cut it down. Oh, that you could have done first. Yeah. We enter the right-hand cave or the left-hand one? I know the left-hand one sort of works. I'll try the right one, but of course I might die again. Oh, by the way, in this book, there seems to be quite a few places where there are 50% chances of dying. I think the odds of actually surviving this book aren't the best. Certainly if you go off the wrong path, it's very easy to die. Anyway. Yeah, that's also a dead end. See, again, you're given a 50-50 choice, and one is insta-death, the other is survival. The smoothness of the floor and walls should have alerted you to the danger. As you explore deep into the cave to get as far away as possible from the frost outside, a sudden roar fills your ears. It is too dark to see, but your last impression is of a wall of freezing water bearing down on you. Except it's so cold by then, water shouldn't really be flowing, should it? Anyway. The end. So, there seems that there's the path to the true path here is quite clearly defined by the one that doesn't instantly kill you. So, left cave it is. I'm going to have to keep doing a bit of do-overs now because of all this... all these insta-deaths. So, as you approach the mouth of the cave, you stumble on a loose rock. Test your luck. And I roll 9, which is my luck. Just my luck, I suppose I could say. I just want to see what happens if you're unlucky there. Ah, well, you only lose 2 stamina points. It's not so bad. You don't impale yourself and die. Which means that definitely is the correct path. So I'm going to do like so. You narrowly miss impaling yourself on one of the vicious-looking spikes of the plant. You pick yourself up and enter the gloom of the cave. Turn to 100. As you go further into the cave, you notice a smell of sulfur, or something like it. It is not too strong, however, and you take it as a good sign. If there is a slight vent to the turbulent volcanic interior of the planet, then the cave should stay above freezing all night. You find a reasonably comfortable spot and settle down. If you have some food... Have I missed the point where you could get some food? Hang on. I'm just curious now. No. I don't think there's any way to get food, actually. At this point. Is this something that may have been lost in editing? It may be on the cutting floor somewhere. Anyway. Right. So if you have food... where are we? Yes. If you have some food, turn to 73, otherwise turn to 18. So 18. Maybe there's a way in the beginning there to get food, but I haven't seen any sign of it. Having no food, your body becomes more vulnerable to the cold and you can hardly sleep at all for trying to keep warm. Gain only 1 stamina point. That is... I don't need a stamina point. Oh, hang on. Yes, I do need a stamina point. And now my stamina is 19. In the morning, you follow a path heading roughly northeast until it divides. Will you branch right or left? I still haven't branched right there. I suppose I may as well try that. Now that I'm apparently doing a comprehensive map of all the insta-deaths in the wilderness here. After walking for quite a while, the path passes through an area which is sprinkled with large boulders. You can hear voices, one Arcadian, one human, coming from behind one of the boulders. It seems that a central Arcadian has a human at his mercy and, in a manner typical of his kind, has paused to think about all the possibilities open to him. The human, meanwhile, is pleading with the Arcadian to stop theorizing and get on with it. Oh, that's so funny. Will you skirt this area to avoid confrontation or try to rescue the man? Okay, so we've got 2 options. Not red. Although some of these are supposed to be in red, aren't they? So that's red. That's supposed to be red. That's supposed to be red. There we are. So we got 2 options. Either avoid confrontation, 275, avoid, or... oh, hang on. My sound of my computer was on. Or 243. Rescue. I'm going to try to rescue him, actually. You edge around the boulder and then spring out, sword at the ready. It seems that the Arcadian has come to some decision because his whippy is raised above the cowering human's head. The look of surprise on the Arcadian's face when you appear is almost comical, but now he will turn his attention to you. Okay. He is not particularly strong, but is agile and cunning. The first time he wounds you, roll an extra die. On the roll of 4 to 6, he hurls some dust in your eyes, and you must lose 1 skill point for the next 2 attack rounds. But you only give him this 1 opportunity. The rest of the fight will be as normal. Okay, so that's an interesting mechanic there, I think. So 2, 4, 3. So I'm fighting a 7, 8 with special rules. So I'll just put a little asterisk there on my map to indicate there are special rules. So he has got 7, 8. It's quite a good fighter, actually. It's 7. Not that many 7s I've been fighting this time. It's mostly been 6s. So I've got a 2 skill point advantage. Let's go. He rolls 8. I roll 10. He's down to 6. He rolls 3. I roll 11. He's down to 4. He rolls 6. I roll 3, which means that he hits me. I'm down to 17, and I roll a die, and it's a 3, so he doesn't put dust in my eyes, so hurl dust in my eyes was the word, yeah. He rolls 10, I roll 11, he's down to 2 hit points, and finally, perhaps he rolls 8 and I roll 6, that is a draw. 10 and 7, that's him hitting me again. 8 and 7, that is victory. Okay. So I win and I go to 189. Let's see now if this is going to be of any use to me. Okay. The man thanks you and offers you some food, which you gratefully accept. Gain 3 stamina points. See, that's what happened. Every time you get food, you just eat it as well. So my stamina is now going to be 18. There we are. While you are eating, he explains that he used to work at the nearby agricultural station, but was caught stealing food to supplement his meager rations. Now he'll never be able to go back. You tell him that within a few days he may find himself free of his masters. Then you ask if he knows anything about the underground. He does not. But it tells you that at this time of day there are no humans in the station itself. They're all out in the fields. It directs you to the agricultural station, gain 1 luck point, and turn to 114. Okay. Now, luck up to 9. Okay. Now, the interesting thing now, 114. I'm still a bit curious because there's something very interesting going on up here on my map. So what happens is, if you haven't watched the earlier episode where this happens, so you get to, if you go up here, northeast, and there is you see a bird that carries something shiny, so you think maybe there's something interesting, so you can choose to climb up to its nest to have a look. And then you can choose to fight it, which is quite dangerous. If you actually lose an attack round, you can get hurtled to the ground and die. And then when you find the thing, it is a staff, and if you try to get down from that hill with the staff in your hand, you also have a chance of dying because it's so hard to get down. So several chances of dying. And then there is this alien over here which seems to be looking for the staff. And I'm still wondering what happens if you get the staff and you get to the alien. I'm just interested to know, but I see that the result here of beating the alien in combat is to get to 114, which is the same as where I'm going now. It certainly seems like the path I just took is certainly the easiest one. I'm just wondering, is there something else to be benefited from, some other benefit to having got the staff, and is it just an interesting, flavorful side quest? I don't know. Anyway. I'll probably never know now because this will be my sort of default path. Yeah, it looks like there's some interesting stuff happens there. Anyway, for now, I'm going to 114. Your path winds through a rocky gorge. Hang on, because these two, just to make sure these two paths are connected now. Or these two ones, because they're the same paragraph. Your path winds through a rocky gorge, which narrows until there is only room for one person to squeeze between the two cliffs. Then, laid out in front of you on the plain, is the agricultural station. There are fields of experimental shrubs being tested for survival in the harsh climate, which are being tended by human workers. And beyond the fields is the station itself, a building insulated within a thermodome. Will you back into the rocks and make your way around to the building, or approach some of the humans in the fields who appear to be unguarded? So, because of the tip I got now, I'm going to go and talk to the people in the fields, because all the humans should be there, which also means that the rebel leader should be there as well. So 88 or 22. So 88 is going to the building. 22 is going to the fields. And of course, I presume that the only reason I got that tip is because I'm meant to go to the fields now. It's a hint, it's a clue to go to the fields. Nice, almost a comic book style illustration again here. You step out into the fields towards a group of humans who are working about 100 meters away. But you're only halfway there when a whirring noise above you and to your left makes you look up. A small silver streamlined craft is heading towards you. You dive into the shrubs as it approaches and, crouching, head for the cover of the middle of the field. But the alien is tracking you. Wherever you go, it hovers overhead. Suddenly it sprays flame, but at the shrubs, not at you. Again and again flames shoot out until you are surrounded by fire. The smoke is dense. You cannot see your enemy. What will you do? Stay where you are and pray, or try to break through the circle of fire? Okay. Okay, so 53. Stay and pray. Or 216. Break. Circle. I'm going to try to break through the circle of fire, I think. Or, well, it's not fire. It's not shooting at me. Is it just trying to corral me? Is it trying to capture me? Because if he wanted to kill me, he would have done it by now. I'm going to stay and pray. See what happens. Or not. God helps those who help themselves, and you have not. The agony, yeah, that's very funny. The is excruciating. Fortunately, if you can call it that, you will asphyxiate before you roast. Okay. So another the end. There's so many ways to die in this one. Okay, shall we do one more do-over before we call it a day? I'm going to 216. I'm going to eyes streaming and choking in the smoke. You race, sometimes leaping, sometimes zigzagging between burning bushes. Test your luck. Oops. 8. My luck is 9, so that was lucky again. And there we are. Where are we now? So we are in test your luck, yeah. So luck and 3, 2, 3 or 3, 8, 9. Okay, so no, hang on. 3, 2, 3 is lucky, and unlucky. Okay, so 3, 2, 3 is where we go. Miraculously, your speed carries you through the danger relatively unharmed, but your exertions, scratches, and burns cost you 2 stamina points. Okay, so we're down to 16, it looks like, yeah. The alien craft was unable to track you through the smoke and is now some way off. Would you sprint for the building or the rocks? Okay. I'm going to sprint for the rocks, I think. 259, rocks. 338, building. I'm going to go for the rocks. The pall of smoke provides excellent cover until you are quite near the rocks. Then you are spotted, and the silver craft races in pursuit. But the drifting smoke causes it to misjudge the distance, and as you squeeze into cover, it smashes into the rock face above you and explodes, just like in Star Wars. Test your luck again. A lot of luck testing in this one. You really can run out on luck, actually. Let's see, luck again. Just going to do my results over this way now. So 2, 2, 8. Lucky, and 2, 8, 8. Unlucky. Numbers that are easy to mix up. 5, I'm lucky again. Luck is down to 7. I don't want it any lower than 7. 2, 2, 8. The shockwave of the Zeridian blast knocks you unconscious. Deduct 2 stamina points and turn to 46. Okay, so stamina 14 and 46. Unlucky, I suppose you get more. Yeah, I just... When you come to, you have difficulty focusing on who you are, where you are, and what you're doing here anyway. But you can make out the blurred shape of a human bending over you. Then you remember your mission. How long have I been out, you ask, trying to get up? It's coming round, Dorado calls the man. Coming, Miser, a voice replies. You've been out for about 45 minutes, says the first man, who is evidently Miser, and the Arcadians are almost upon us. 45 minutes? Then there is no time to lose. You will scarcely make it back to the spaceport in time for your flight. You must send one of the men to defend the pass and buy you enough time to talk to the other and escape. Will you send Dorado away, or Miser? Am I the one in charge? Why am I given the choice of that? And why? Yeah, and why should they trust me to do that? I mean, why would they already automatically think that my life is more important than theirs, etc., etc., etc. Okay. $175 Dorado. 255. Miser. So I'm going to send Miser away. Or not. Dorado, you say. I must go, but first tell me what you know about the digits of the Arcadian computer. Identify yourself, he says in reply. What's the password? You will now either know what to do, or you will get nothing more out of Dorado. However much you protest that you cannot know his password, having only just arrived on the planet. You have failed. And this is an end that I can't just go back on, because I don't know how to progress from there. So I would have to go back all the way so I can find out what's going on. So Miser, that is going to a secret location that I don't know. A secret paragraph. Right, so there is some clue somewhere that I don't know. Okay. Maybe I'm supposed to go to the building first. Maybe this has something to do with the encounter with the alien up here, but I'm not so sure about that. Anyway, this is quite an interesting little playthrough. I've found lots of insta-deaths this time. I stopped counting. Did you count? Anyway, I died several times technically. And I don't know. I'm still. I mean, it doesn't matter how many times you die in this book. I still want to know what's going on and find out what the right path is. The correct path doesn't seem that complicated, but in a way, it's a nice puzzle, I think, to find it. Um, and in this book, mapping is quite essential. Although I think that it's one of those where if you played this over and over again, you would quite quickly learn by heart what you're supposed to do as well. So it's not that tricky to in terms of mapping compared to some other books. Because the correct path seems quite linear, and it also the book sort of directs you quite quickly back to where you're supposed to be. You just end up being where you're supposed to be without what you need to have when you're there. So, right, I am going to play this again soon, and I hope I'll see you there as well. And I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, please like, share, comment, subscribe, join me on Patreon, all those things, if you want to support my channel and what I do on it. And I'll see you next time. So goodbye for now. Bye bye.